I have to say, some of these Connor Bedard takes are kind of spicy. Is he a bust? Is he terrible? It's one game. It's one game, and I thought he played pretty well. Now, on the channel, it's going to be Patreon exclusive for obvious reasons. I'm going to be breaking down each shift. I'm going to wait until after the Boston game tonight, see how he plays, kind of look at the positive and negatives of Bedard's game over the first couple of games, and kind of like go into the finer details of where you feel he can, where he's doing well, or maybe where he can improve as well. To me, this is how I look at it. Connor Bedard had a good night. He showed some of the flashes. He has a really good shot. When he decides to shoot the puck, he has a good shot. Seemed like he really likes shooting low left. I don't know if that's the scouting report on Jari, and that's why he kept trying to go blocker or low right pad side. And yeah, he's got a really good wrist shot. He's got really good passing ability too, really good vision. Kept hitting guys on some nice seam passes. And really fancy breakout pass behind his back, just tape to tape. Bedard's got pretty much everything you want. He's fast. Is he fast as McDavid? No, but he's a fast skater. Very good agility, good hand-eye coordination, good shot, and good playmaking ability. He is what you want in a center. Your center's got to be one of your best passers. Now, if I was to say some criticisms I saw, or should I say some criticisms I would have of his game, saying that, Bedard's young. And due to that, he isn't really necessarily ready for the battles on the boards. He got pushed off the puck pretty easily. Letang kind of made him get folded at one point, and he just got bumped off like crazy. I know when Achari was shadowing him quite a bit, Bedard had a difficulty because Achari's a good defensive forward. And on that penalty kill, he just kind of shadowed it and made life difficult on him. And I think that's just going to come with age. That's not something you can kind of fix overnight. Bedard's just going to have to put on, a little bit of more muscle, get really good with his edges. I mean, he's already good at his edges, but just get stronger on his skates. And that just takes time. He's 18 years old. I'm not expecting a kid right out of juniors to be an absolute freak that just won't be knocked off the puck. And a good comparison for him, is the guy on the other side. Like, if he plays like Sidney Crosby, a good two-way center, great back checker, good stick lifting, good backhand. Crosby's extremely creative. He's one of the more well-balanced players we've had in the NHL in its history. If Bedard can take notes from Crosby, I think he'll be extremely successful. But yeah, that's a criticism. He got knocked off the puck a little bit too easily at times. Another criticism I would have about Bedard, it did seem like with certain moments in the game, he was trying a little bit too much to do things by himself. Instead of kind of, I would say, handing off some solid passes, making the quick pass. There was a moment in the game where there was 3 Pittsburgh defenders around him, and instead of just, I'm not saying concede the play, either pass it off to the boards, kind of wrap it around. He cuts to the middle, and he doesn't shoot. He tries to dangle. He would have been better off either just kind of maintaining possession, maybe curling off the left side half boards, or just taking a shot on net and hoping maybe you get a stoppage or maybe you score. You don't know. But at times it seemed like he was trying a little bit much, but he kind of settled down as the game went on. But yeah, my main couple criticism is that. And for all things considered, that Chicago Blackhawk team, which I don't think very highly on. Taylor Hall, I still think is a viable top 6 winger. He looked pretty solid. And Donato, who I'm not very high on, I think he's more of a bottom 6 guy on that top line. Hey, it looked pretty good. And some of those defensemen, while they made some miscues and they, Mrazek had to bail him out a few times, it was promising for the Chicago Blackhawks. I actually think if I'm a Blackhawks fan there, I'm excited about the future. And, there's going to be some ups and downs because there's youth on this team, but there is promise. I think some of the notion that because Bedard didn't score 5-6 points in one game, and I saw that some people would share the Austin Matthews 4 goals in his first game, which was absolutely tremendous, but it's not reasonable to expect every single rookie to hit like that. That's just not fair to them. It takes time, and players develop at different paces. And some might argue that, well, he's a generational talent. He's got to be like McDavid. He's got to be like this. And McDavid had great point per game totals, but we all have to remember he got hurt pretty early on, and I don't think his body was necessarily ready for the physical toll. I'm not completely blaming that injury on that, but Look what McDavid has done throughout the years. He's gotten stronger. That's why he's such a fantastic player. All the good and great NHL players, as they get older, they build more strength, get stronger on their skates, really good balance. I mean, that's kind of the way to get better. I mean, Sidney Crosby from year one to year now, I mean, to right now, I should say. I mean, it's a completely better player. I know he's older and some might say he's getting ancient, but like the guy is still an amazing hockey player. It's just going to take time with Bedard. I'm not expecting him to hit 150 points in his first season. I think a successful season for him is probably around 60 plus points, considering the team that is around him. But there was flashes there, and you can definitely see him having a very good shot at being a superstar at this league, but it's not easy. You go from juniors, where you're playing against people your own age, very young kids, to playing against men that are 10 years older than you, 15 years older than you, that have put in the work, that have worked out like crazy. And I'm not saying it's due to Bedard's lack of work ethic. It's just the maturation process of becoming a man. He's only 18 years old. An 18-year-old, you know, who might work out every day, won't have the same physical capabilities. I mean, you know, maybe there's some outliers of a 25, 26-year-old in their prime who's been doing, like, working out all their whole life. There's just going to be physical differences. And I think it's just going to take time. But, I mean, yeah, I think the very good first game. Some people were upset he only had 1 point, but yeah, I mean, if he plays like that throughout the season, he's going to be able to pick his spots. And probably my last criticism would be for him to shoot a little bit more. When he got into the slot, there was a couple times at the top of the face-off circles and even in between the face-off circles in the higher slot. I just want him to shoot. He has a really great shot. And he kept shooting it like blocker side, low blocker. I don't know if that was a scouting report that the Blackhawks have on Jari. And like, well, that's where he's weak. And he kept trying to test that. I want him to rip these shots. I know there was a lot of shot attempts. I think some of the shot attempts he took were kind of bad decisions. But there was times where he was completely open and he had a lane to shoot at the net. I mean, utilize that rocket of a shot you have. He's got a very good shot. Whether it be his wrist shot where he kind of toe drags it and kind of like rips it across his body, or his slap shot. He's got very good offensive capabilities, and that's what makes him extremely talented. He's not just one-dimensional. And actually one last thing I'll throw in. The face-offs were not good for Bedard. He started out, I think he was like 0 for 8 at one point, starting off the face-offs. And Donato was actually being put in there to try to win some face-offs at point because it was just not going well for Bedard. And that's probably a knock I would have on the Blackhawks roster. I don't really look at them being extremely deep at center. I think they would probably benefited of maybe putting Bedard on the wing this season and kind of allowing him to get used to the NHL game. But hey, I mean, he's a center. He's going to learn the defensive responsibilities. He kind of, you know, there's two ways to look at that. But he's going to have to improve. He can't be as bad as he was during last night against the Penguins. I'm not expecting it to. But I don't expect his face-off percentage to be amazing this year because I think it's going to be a learning year. It's going to be a developing year. But all things considered, solid night. He's going to be playing the Boston Bruins tonight, which will be very fun to watch. Do you think he's going to score a goal tonight? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you want to watch along with me and my co-host Fajardo, on Patreon we do live streams, watch along parties where, you know, we have the game up on the screen, watch it together, and kind of have conversations with the subscribers. So if you're interested, check out the Patreon. It's $1 a month. There's 3 different tiers: $1, $5, and $10. With the upper tiers, there's going to be more benefits that are coming out. I got to kind of edit a few things because we're going to be doing like, monthly hangouts, private content just for upper echelon people in the Patreon and things of that nature. But, I mean, the most I'm going to do is $10. I don't think anything should be above that, but that's a whole different conversation. But, hey, if you seem interested in that, just want to watch some games, $1 a month, feel free to pop on by. So I'm Captain Paul. I'd like to know your thoughts down below. What did you think of Connor Bedard, and do you think some of the criticism he is getting is fair or a little bit excessive? I'll see you in the next one.